Welcome to Tamara Tattletales. I'm Tamara, and I spill the tea on your favorite reality stars. Married at First Sight Season 13 Reunion Part 2. Plus, they added the Where Are They Now episode afterwards for 4 straight hours of Married at First Sight. I thought Where Are They Now felt scripted. They basically had them act out what we heard them say about their lives on Reunion. For example, some of the cast say they hang out and travel together, so Where Are They Now showed them hanging out and traveling together. While it was interesting to see some of them interact, I want a refund. I want those 2 hours of my life back. Therefore, I'm only going to focus on the reunion while keeping in mind what I saw on Where Are They Now. So it picks up with Kevin trying to finish his exhausting conversation with Zach. Michaela storms the stage. 1 minute she refuses to be on stage with him to protect her peace. The next minute she's rushing the stage in a very non-peaceful way to confront Zach. I can see why Zach was upset. He allowed her to have her time uninterrupted per her request, so give the man his time. But when he does finally get his time, he served us a vegan word salad. There was like no meat to what he was saying. His side of the story about he and Michaela staying at his place together was nonsensical. He says Michaela didn't move in with him after decision day. Instead, what had happened was they were walking down the street arguing, right? Now, we were never told why they were together to begin with. So anyway, they're arguing and he's done with her at that point. Like, doesn't want anything to do with her, doesn't even want to be her friend. He says she's tipsy, so that means he's having an argument with someone who's impaired by alcohol. Since she's tipsy, he drives her car back to his place, which sounds like they were kicking it at his pad before they went to wherever they were. On the way home, she tried to hop out of the car and in the process broke her own window. Then she said something happened at work and he didn't want to abandon her. So what it sounds like, in the middle of the fight, she's trying to jump out of a moving car, and at the same time, she's screaming, "I had a bad day. Becky didn't reply to my email." So to absolutely drive home his point that he wanted absolutely nothing to do with her, he invited her to stay at his place for 4 days. But with the understanding that things would end after that, though. And to really make it clear that he was like done with her, he had sex with her every day so she wouldn't feel rejected. By the way, I Googled the term mixed signals and this story came up as an example. Then we experienced yet another bad editing moment when Zach said Michaela accused him of not wanting the camera on so he can act a different way when the cameras were off. I assume he's referring to her segment during part 1 of the reunion special, but they cut that part out, so we never heard her say that. So Kevin and Zach's conversation made no sense. And for his word finale, Zach said he doesn't know if he wants to be married anymore, that this definitely soured him on marriage. But he still wants marriage and for sure wants kids. I alluded to this in my part 1 video. I believe they both lie about certain things to try and make themselves look better, yet neither one of them is a very good liar. Johnny and Bao. Now, I thought it was interesting that yet another cast member from this season is stating that they were not a good match due to fundamental differences. Bao said this about she and Johnny and that they were very similar in ways that were not complementary. Now, I imagine that she might be referring to them both being a little OCD about certain things. Johnny didn't disappoint. He was sitting there Johnnying it up by accusing Bao of not allowing him to speak his mind. Sorry, I can't even say that with a straight face. Isn't he the one who accused her on camera of not bathing enough? Said that her giddiness was a turnoff, that he does all the work and she does nothing, that he wished he had been matched with anyone but her and that she's fake? Are we to assume that what we saw was Johnny being restrained? Like there was more? Good God, if that's the case, you should be thanking Bao for not allowing you to go all in because you've pretty much made yourself look like an ass with all these things you've said so far. What it sounds like is they had different approaches on how to handle talking about their personal business on camera. Bao wanted to have serious discussions privately first to ensure they would not say things that could have a negative effect on their careers or loved ones. And Johnny wanted to freestyle it and whatever happens, happens. I do see both sides, but I personally would want more of a Bao approach. Johnny's way is definitely more authentic, but it could also be more dangerous with a spouse like Johnny. Imagine having to face your coworkers after your spouse announces on national television that you don't bathe often enough. Why do millions of people need to hear that? However, as much as Johnny complained about being silenced and that so much of their story was not being told, he couldn't give one example of what we missed. Bao was the one that gave us examples, like not wanting to talk about their sex life and wanted to plan serious conversations. I do think one thing that Johnny said is really important, that he wanted warmth from his wife, like emotional hugs, and he didn't get them. In one of the first episodes, Johnny confessed that his mother never told him that she loved him and never hugged him. I've said this before, I believe Johnny is craving the nurturing he never got from his mother and is demanding it from his partners. And another thing, do you remember when Pastor Cal accused Johnny of being distracted, like as if there were someone else he had an interest in and Johnny said no? I'm not sure I believe that. After watching he and Mryla together and hearing Johnny carry on about how he wished he could have swapped wives and had Mryla instead, it sounds to me that she was a distraction for him. When they gathered the ladies together, I found it interesting how outspoken Michaela was about their bond, because she is the outsider of this group. None of these women are trying to hang out with Michaela, or Bao for that matter either. Rachel, Brett, and Mryla definitely seem to have their own little clique going on there. During this segment, Michaela said she didn't like Ryan because he was always up in she and Zach's business. I guess since he wasn't interested in his own marriage, he figured why not stick his nose in theirs. By the way, if you're wondering if there was something a little different about Ryan's face, apparently he got a procedure done. Someone on social media wrote, "Did Ryan do something to his sad droopy eyes, or is it just me?" And Ryan replied, "My dumbass actually got Botox for the first time before filming, and that's what effed me up." Mryla dropped a few more hints as to why she broke things off with Gil. She mentioned that she didn't like being called high maintenance all the time, or the fact that he made such a big deal about her liking nice things. In the Mryla montage, they showed her calling herself a diva and bougie. Maybe she thinks the difference is that when she said it, it's not a bad thing, it just is, and when Gil says it, it takes on more of a negative connotation. Moving on to Mryla and Gil speaking with the experts. Firstly, I'm not Team Gil or Team Mryla. I don't believe they were a good match, but I hope they both find who they're looking for. After watching the clip where Mryla is crying because Gil opens every door for her, even car doors when he's not driving, makes the bed, brings her flowers every week, and so forth, Gil seemed to have figured out her love language, and he went out of his way to do the things she loved. So my question for him is, what did she do for you? I know she baked you cookies and eventually started walking your dog, but is that your love language? Like acts of service? I mean, I don't know. I just haven't heard him say what he loves so much about her that is causing him to feel so broken. The things he has said about her that stand out most to me are that she's a brat, extra, Debbie Downer, brings down his mood, high class, never satisfied, attached to material things, and a princessa. Obviously, this show is heavily edited, so maybe there were many nice things he said, but we didn't hear them. So I could only go by what we were shown, which seemed to be a man who, in his own words, could easily say no to her on decision day. I just don't understand what it is about her that he wants to hold on to so badly, given the point of view we were shown. And that's not a dig against Mryla, really. I'm talking about from his point of view, he didn't seem to be all that crazy about her. So while he's feeling blindsided by their breakup, I'm feeling a little blindsided by his teary response. I don't get it. I wish they would have shown more of Mryla talking in the scene, because I really wanted to hear her give clear reasons of what happened. The most we heard her say in this scene is that it wasn't finances, but some things that occurred with him after decision day that led her to believe she couldn't feel safe with him to make financial decisions for them in the future. Then when the experts pressed her, she said it was finances, attraction, happiness, and chemistry. Then oddly enough, Pastor Cal got on her about wanting happiness. He said happiness in a marriage is a byproduct of setting goals, and reaching those goals together is what makes you happy. While I agree that reaching shared goals can make you happy, I disagree with the insinuation that you shouldn't be concerned with being happy along the journey. Finally, they sit all the cast together in one room. Mryla was sitting there looking very cozy and touchy-feely with Johnny. It felt like Kevin was asking Gil to share women's stories from his inbox to get at Mryla. But Mryla could care less. She was sitting there looking like she was on a movie date with Johnny, smiling brighter than she ever did during the season, snuggled all up on his arm, while she's listening to Gil tell his story like he's telling jokes at a comedy club, just laughing. I guess she was thinking, I got better stories than your little cyber admirer story. Wait till you hear about me and Johnny going to Cancun together. Allegedly, Johnny was attending a wedding and Mryla happened to be going for a girlfriend's birthday at the exact same time. When Kevin asked Mryla and Johnny if they were just BFFs, Johnny shrugged. Now that was telling to me because Johnny claimed earlier in this episode that he's dating someone, but not Mryla. If he's dating someone else, why would he shrug? That would be disrespectful to the young lady he's dating, right? In the meantime, Gil claimed in a very pissed off voice that he doesn't care about Johnny and Myrla's friendship. Yeah, nobody believed that, by the way, Gil. When Gil walked out, Mryla and Johnny were like little mean girl teenagers giggling in the corner. And when Johnny said apparently he didn't like that question, I was so glad Rachel checked him and said, Johnny, back off. I thought it was disrespectful that Kevin asked Jose about being gay, especially in front of his wife. Imagine standing next to your significant other while someone's questioning their sexuality. What do we gain from that question? Of course he's gonna say no. Now we move on to Michaela and Zach trying to talk about Hurricane K at the retreat. Every time Michaela relays that story, she gives us a different reason why she behaved the way she did. Then when Zach tried to apologize, she tells him to shut the fuck up. I would say her little knee-jerk reaction, or as I like to call it, what it is, her temper is still hot like chicken grease.